Hi, I'm Liv. Welcome back to my channel. My sorority love story, Lost and Found, is available for purchase, has been available for purchase for about a month now, a little over a month. I've been MIA from this channel. There was that whole thing with my mental health being bad and then my physical health not being great for a little bit. Like I had a cold and it was just not, I just was not having the energy to be in front of the camera, and then work just, and then work was busy, and then now work's over. And then super fun is like right as work was ending, a skin condition that I had in middle school, haven't had since middle school, decided to come back. I'm 30 years old. It's mostly like on the back of my head, so you can't really tell in the video, but like, depending on how good my camera is, which I don't think I paid for that good of a camera, but like you could see it on my eyelids a little bit, which is why I'm not wearing makeup, but it's whatever. I fully planned to sit down and do the 5 fun facts with spoilers for Lost and Found that I've been saying I'm gonna do for months now. I find the notes file in my phone where I knew like months ago I had started to write out what the 5 fun facts were, and I have 2. I swear I thought I had all 5, I have 2. So I'm gonna read those 2. And just because this video is so late, I'm gonna pause the recording and come up with the other 3 after I read those 2. So that's where we are with that. All right, now this is one that I said I would get into, like started to get into in previous videos, said I would get into in the 5 fun facts with spoilers, but the very first scene that I wrote for Lost and Found was actually Violet and Ashley's first kiss at sorority semi-formal, or no, it was formal, not semi-formal, at the sorority formal. And it was originally like a short story with 2 unnamed characters that I had written after reading The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall, which, great book if you have the emotional capacity to just like have happiness sucked out of your body. It's a fantastic book. It will emotionally destroy you. I literally sat in my college dorm and wrote that, and then like 2 years later, like a year and a half later, when I was in a fiction writing class, I edited it into, I mean, over the course of the next year, I had like incorporated Violet and Ashley into the university story series, because like I mentioned, it was originally Marianne and Lauren's story, or stories. And I had incorporated those characters into it and made them, and then had the idea to make it more like, make a more Violet focused companion piece. However, I explained this all in a different video. You guys don't need to hear me explain it again, but then when I was in a fiction writing class, I took out what had become of that first kiss scene and kind of tried to turn it back into a short story to submit for that. So, but yeah, that was, yeah, it was, and here's like a bonus sub fun fact. We'll call it fun fact 1.5. I won't be that person and make it fun fact number 2. But the short story was called Hit or Miss. That was the original title. And I did keep the bit in there where when Violet goes to kiss Ashley, she says, I'm gonna shoot my shot, hit or miss. I wrote that first short story in 2019 when I was just, you know, whenever I was bored in my dorm and didn't feel like writing, I would watch like Vine compilations. I started getting recommended TikTok compilations. I would watch Vine compilations a lot, and then I started getting recommended TikTok compilations, and I wasn't on TikTok until like 2020 pandemic era. I had a TikTok because Cal made a TikTok and I just made one, I didn't really use it. But I would watch these TikTok compilations in 2019 on YouTube if I was super bored. And it was such an earworm, the Hit or Miss song, the Hit or Miss, I guess they never miss, huh? Such an earworm. Loved it, like, for the meme that it was. And there's just, I don't know, like I was joking around with my friends that was like, basically like if I were to shoot my shot with my crush, I should say hit or miss, and then if it worked out, then I could be like, I guess they never miss, huh? So then originally in the story, Violet actually says that after she kisses Ashley, and Ashley's like, oh, like, it's me. And or after Ashley doesn't push her away, she's like, I guess never miss, huh? And I kept that in there for so long to the point that I finally took it out when I was sending it to my editor, and I just took that line out. So there was this whole bit that I had to explain to her, because she's like, Violet says that she spoke next, but it looks like Ashley's the one talking. I'm like, oh yeah, that's because I had to cut out this stupid meme line that I had in there from the original short story that was so stupid, but I was so attached to it, because it's like, that was, I don't know, but I did keep her asking hit or miss in there. I did keep that in there, and I'm not sorry about it. So fun fact number 2. I did mention that there was originally going to be some sort of a magic system in this storyline, which worked so much better when it was just the Marian and Lauren storylines. Like, putting Violet's storyline in there, like anything I tried to do with the magic system just kind of took away from her making it on her own with autism. And the main thing I tried to do with Violet and Ashley's story, the main way that I tried to incorporate the magic system into that was kind of like, so I didn't come up with the phrasing soul stones. I stole that from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but they function differently, okay? So basically, it was Ashley had this necklace, and there was a clear crystal on the end of it, and it was passed down from her family for generations. And it was said that if you and your soulmate touch that stone at the same time, it will change colors, and that's how you know that that's your soulmate. And that led into, like, when her and Sophie broke up, it's because they both touched the soul stone at the same time and it didn't change colors, and she was like, oh crap, that's not my soulmate. And then she loses her necklace. There's this whole thing where, like, at Airband, Riley is trying to, like, put a spell on Shane, and it misfires, hits Ashley, she drops the necklace, it gets lost, and then Marian finds it later, realizes it's Ashley's, gives it to Violet to give back to her, and at formal, Violet has it in her pocket, or in her purse or something, and she was like, all I have to do is give this to Ashley, and we both touch it, and then she knows we're soulmates. But then she's like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna tell her I have it, I'm just gonna see if she likes me for me, and then maybe later down the line I'll be like, oh, by the way, I have your necklace. And then, so then the morning after, Ashley was like, you know what's super weird is that, like, I'm so in love with you, I haven't even thought about my soul stone once. Like, usually when I start dating someone new, like, that's the first thing I think of is, like, one day I'm gonna have to test the soul stone on them, but I haven't thought about it once since, you know, all night. And then Violet says, well, you know, funny story about that is that I actually have it, and I was gonna give it back to you. So do you actually want to test it out, or do you just want to see where this goes? And they decide that they are going to test it out, but even if it's not, even if it doesn't change colors, they're going to stay in the relationship for as long as it makes sense to. But they touch it and they're soulmates anyway. And I just, I feel like that took away from all the, like, growth Violet had, like being able to make the first move, having that confidence in herself, and then just the organicness of their love story. I'm like, they don't really need magic to support their story. That's it. It kind of cheapens it if I have that part in there, in my opinion. So I just cut that, ended up cutting the whole magic system because it was just too much. And I was like, it really only works with Marian and Lauren's storylines, and I will get into that when I talk about the fun fact spoilers for the companion novel, and eventually the sequel. But I'm like, it really only made sense in their storylines. I can't think of a way to use it with Violet that doesn't take away from her making it on her own with autism, and so I'm just gonna cut it. And so I did, but there you go. All right, for fun fact number 3, I want to talk about Violet's initiation. So she is, essentially she's drugged. Basically, I had the idea that if she was like a little bit out of her mind during that scene, then, because I'm telling the story first person through Violet, but sorority initiation is like a very sacred kind of thing, and like there's rituals that go on in there that you don't repeat. So I wasn't going to base it off of Delta Gamma initiation, first of all. Like, I wasn't going to do that. But then I didn't want to make up fake initiation rituals for a fake chapter and then accidentally end up like being disrespectful to somebody's actual rituals, because I only know Delta Gamma's rituals. I don't know any other chapters. And And so I was like, I was trying to think of a way to navigate that, and I had the idea to just make her basically drugged. And in a very light way. Like, originally just had her take too many migraine pills, but I was like, no, I think I'm gonna have her take an edible. And like, so it's just a little bit questionable how that all happened. But that was how I thought I would get around the issue of rituals, is just have her not be super duper coherent during them. And I did have a migraine on the morning of my own initiation, and I did take the correct prescription amount of medication. I felt like a little bit fuzzy during it, but like not to the extent that I wrote Violet to be. So I thought that'd be a cute little callback to that moment for my own initiation, while at the same time kind of having a way to tell initiation from her first person narration without having to come up with rituals. So that is why that happens the way it does. Okay, fun fact number 4 is Riley and Violet actually, in the original outline, rarely interacted. Like, they would say hi to each other in the hallway when they saw each other, but like Violet was like, that is an enemy, I do not talk to her, and so they just barely interacted. And then in what will eventually be the sequel, they would have like their first like real interaction, which I won't spoil what that is, because there's still a version of that scene in the sequel. But the more I wrote them kind of interacting in the hallways, and the more I wrote scenes with Riley and Marion in the companion novel, the more I was like, you know what, I actually don't hate Riley's character as much as I did when I started like outlining this. And I love her interacting with Violet, actually. Like, the more scenes I wrote with her and Violet, the more I was like, I actually really like them together. Like, I think it would be like it would be a very interesting thing for Riley's character if she's actually not a bitchy sorority girl just because she's in like the top house. Like, if she actually is a nice person. Because like, when I originally wrote her character, she had no redeeming value whatsoever. Like, her only character trait was that she cheated on Shane and was back to get him back, essentially. And she was just very selfish, self-serving, didn't really care about anything other than what she wanted. But then the more I wrote scenes with her and Violet, and then the scenes with her and Marion in what will now be the companion novel, interacting during sorority recruitment, I won't say too much about those because I don't want to spoil those, but especially writing scenes with her and Violet, I'm like, you know what, like, I actually want to make her character likable and good, and just having made bad choices in the past, but like, is still a likable person. And just like, because, you know, people aren't black and white. So if I have her be nice to Violet, even though Violet already knows, like, hey, like, I'm supposed to not like her because of what she did to my friend or my friend's boyfriend, to just have that kind of moral grayness as something Violet has to deal with, especially navigating that as somebody who does not do well with gray areas. I thought that would be a good change for Riley's character, and that ability to develop her through her relationship with Violet, and just kind of give them that friendship, which you will see more of in the sequel. I don't know if I'm going to have any, like, because the companion novel is third person, mostly focusing on Marion's point of view or Lauren's point of view, but it's third person. So I haven't decided, because there is occasionally a moment where you'll get a glimpse into somebody else's life. Like Trevor and Leanna have some scenes together, and then Skylar and Shane have some scenes together. I haven't decided if I want to tell any of the Riley and Violet scenes from Riley's point of view. I don't think I'm going to, because with the amount of it that's done, I'm just like, unless my editor is like, you should go back and add these, I don't plan to. But that's just writing them in Violet's point of view was just a fun way to build Riley's character and decide that I actually didn't hate her and didn't want her to be just somebody that you were supposed to hate. I wanted her to be morally gray. And so you have the Riley and Violet interactions to thank for that. Because like, originally it was like just like very surface level, them interacting in the hallway, but the more I would like right? I'd be like, actually, I want the scene to go on a little bit longer. I want them to talk more. I want Riley to be really nice to Violet and to not like be a bitch to her because she's mentally challenged, basically. Like you would expect the stereotypical like top house bitchy sorority girl to be rude to a special needs person. I don't know, like that's just a perceived stereotype. I don't like, granted I was in the weird chapter, but I was never treated differently. Like, and when the few interactions I had with people from top houses, I was not treated differently that I could tell. So like that, I think that is mostly a stereotype. I'm not saying nobody's ever experienced it and that people don't still experience it. I'm just saying from my experience, I didn't meet anybody like that, but I do not doubt that they exist. But because I didn't meet anybody like that, I didn't want to make Riley like that. I was like, let's shine some positive light or some morally gray light on this type of person. And that's that on that. I don't know what else to say. I think I want to make this a whole separate fun fact. I'm just going to call this 4.5. There was a deleted scene in basically the part where Riley invites Violet to the party that they go to. There was originally a whole plot point in there where Violet is like alone, or like she goes to mingle in the basement, and then a girl finds her there and is like, hey, you're kind of cute, and they kind of hit it off, and then she goes up to the girl's room and then she's like, wait, no, I can't, like I'm in love with somebody else, like I can't cheat on my crush that doesn't like me back. That kind of thing. And then the next day when Riley talks to her in the lobby, and then Lauren's like, wait, you guys have talked? Like, you guys are, what? And she's like confused by them interacting. That was originally Riley saying like, hey, my friend had a really good time with you. She wanted to know if she could have your number. And then Violet's just like, yeah, here's the thing, no. Super awkward situation. And I forget, I'm sure I still have the old document somewhere, but I forget how that conversation ended up going, because like now she has to like address this in front of Riley and Lauren, and address the fact that she's talking to Riley in front of Lauren and all this stuff, and it was messy. And I decided like that plot point like didn't really add anything. All it did was like gave Violet another potential love interest, but then she was like, yeah, no, but I'm in love with Ashley, even though she doesn't like me back, so I can't do this, it's not gonna work. So it didn't really add enough, in my opinion, for me to keep it. Here's the thing. I can't think of a fifth one. I have like flipped through this book so many times. I cannot think of a fifth one right now, a fifth fun fact. I gave you 2 half fun facts. Would you guys hate me if I called that 5? Because I gave you 4 and then 2 half ones. I know that's like really, I know that's like, I know. But here's the thing, is that I think this will, is that I genuinely thought I had 5 written down when I sat down to film this video, and I have promised you guys this video for so long, and I want to give it to you. So here's what I'm gonna do is, when I make my next 5 fun facts video, whether it be when I make my next 5 fun facts video, either with or without spoilers, I will just add a 6th one to whatever it is. I promise. I'm so sorry. I genuinely am like, I can't think of anything that wouldn't like spoil too much about the companion novel or the sequel at this point. It was easier to do this for Saving Summer because that was a standalone and I didn't have to worry about spoiling anything else later. But it's like here, I'm just like, oh yeah, that I said this is with spoilers, but I don't want to spoil something that hasn't even come out yet. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for your patience, for bearing with me. I owe you guys a fun fact, which I will get you guys a 5th whole fun fact when I tack it on to either the companion novel or the sequel. I will get you that 5th fun fact. I will have another video going up soon-ish that's not writing related, just more of a life update. And then after that, it's gonna be the autistic representation deep dive, which I'm gonna split into at least 2 parts because I don't wanna do a whole hour-and-a-half video like I did with Saving Summer. I'm like, let me just split that into multiple parts. But deep dive into autistic representation in Lost and Found. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time video. Bye.